Hi everybody, this is Jack Hurley, another edition of The Word from the Superintendent as we are in the month of March, moving into what we hope will be a great final quarter of the school year and also a nice spring as we've gotten through, we hope, the worst part of winter and we turn the page to spring activities and spring sports and the kind of rebirth that comes with nature that often gets picked up by the students and the faculty and staff with energy in the building. A couple of things I wanted to share with you. I want to thank those members of the community that came out to the roundtable presentation I did in January and to the other folks who have watched it online. This message is bumping that message down a bit, but it still will be there online. You can find it on our website if you haven't had a chance to watch it yet, in which we talk, so I spoke a little bit and I was joined by Dr. Valechko and also some other folks in the community to talk a little bit about the programs and the changes that we made this year, which have been very successful and pleasantly surprised that we've had such a smooth transition and we've seen so many positive things throughout the district. We also talked that night about some of the bumps in the road and how we're addressing them. And the main point of the conversation was looking ahead to where the district is going to be in the next 5 to 10 years. To that regard, we have a long-term strategic planning committee, and Dr. Valechko, who was at the meeting with me in January, is chairing that committee. The committee sent out a survey in the beginning of February. And again, I want to thank those people who participated. We had over 400 to 450 responses from a range of parents, students in the high school, the middle school, community members, faculty, staff. So it was a nice picture, snapshot of the various groups that make up our school community. Right now we're tabulating and going through those results. The committee is going to review them and it will be part of a presentation that will be made in May by the committee to the Board of Education with what they have found in terms of the direction the district is heading and some of the challenges we face as we move in that direction. So be looking for that. At some point, probably in the spring, the committee's report will not only be presented at a board meeting and then obviously telecast on our cable network, but also on the web, but also we'll be publishing some of the information or all the information on the web when the time comes. You may have been picking up or hearing when you look at the board meetings that we are revising our policy manual. That will be coming this spring. It's a total revision. And it really isn't a total change in policy. There's always, policy is the law of the land. Policy is dictated by state law, state regulation, and or local Board of Education decisions. Some policies are mandated by federal state law. Some policies we have some flexibility in, and they're homegrown. For the last several years, we've been using the Jersey School Board's policy manual as the guide for our policy. And we are making a switch to Strauss-Esme. Strauss-Esme is a company in the state that deals strictly with policy, public school policy manuals, and they provide not only a framework, but they provide quarterly updates, revisions when needed, and advice and counseling when there's a question about policy. The reason we made the move to Strauss-Esme is because they serve about 420 of the 600 plus school districts in the state. They are the largest policy advisory company in the state, utilized by the majority of schools. When I took a little survey of Bergen County, we were in the minority of maybe 5 or 6 schools that did not use Strauss-Esme. They provide much better support and much better frequently updates and guidance in that regard. So you'll be hearing and you'll be seeing in the spring that the entire policy manual is changing. There are very few substantive changes in the policy manual. It is more of a formatting and enumeration system. And again, these will be on the web late spring, early summer as we adopt the new changes for next school year. We're also in this time of year, the budget preparation time. Mr. Kelly and our business administrator, the principals, the supervisors, the Board of Education's Finance Committee, and myself have been working on developing the budget, and we will be presenting a budget to the county at the end of March, and then for a preliminary approval, and then there is a public hearing April 24th where the board does a final approval, and there's a public hearing that's April the 24th board meeting. Along the way, there are various budget presentations at board meetings. Finally, I want to just take a moment to mention two things. One is we have lots and lots of wonderful things going on with our students. I think and our faculty and staff. Two that I want to mention are our academic decathlon team at the high school, which had won the state championship. Keep in mind, there's one school that does this, goes to the national championship. They've done that twice in the last 7 or 8 years, which is phenomenal. Not many teams repeat. And usually they're up against the real big schools in the state, the Princetons, the Ramapos, the Ridgewoods, and schools like that. Well, they qualified this year for the state championship in the regional by placing 4th, and it's the 16th consecutive year they've done that, which is remarkable. I also want to mention that our robotics team, you've heard a lot about from Union School, has qualified in their first real year of existence to go into the World Championships. And that's right, the World Championships being held in Kentucky. And they'll be competing against schools that qualified from around the globe. They qualified by entering local competitions and state competitions that follow guidelines that are universal. Scores get entered, and then they rank the top teams in the world. Last ranking, I believe Union School was ranked, I think somewhere in the high 90s, and those rankings constantly change. So they're on their way to the World Championship in April in Kentucky. We congratulate them, Mr. Helfingstein, and the Union School faculty. And the second thing I want to mention is about all these wonderful things that go on in schools, and it's hard for everyone to keep track of them. It's hard for everyone to really know what's happening. So we've had a Facebook page for a long, long time in the district, and it's kind of been a secret. We haven't really advertised it. We haven't put out a lot of information. We're changing that. We realize that most of our community, most of our parents and members of the community really do utilize Facebook. So we ask you to like us on Facebook. Go find the page. We're putting more and more information, pictures of day-to-day happenings in our buildings. And we're hoping to expand that going forward. It'll be a good way for you not only to go to our webpage where you find out, and you go right to your son or daughter's page. So if you have a child in Lincoln School, you're going to go there. But Facebook, you'll see all the schools across the district, the exciting things that are going on in the classroom, in the assemblies, in the co-curricular, and we hope to keep that content rich and current. So please check it out if you're on Facebook. And if not, you may want to consider becoming a member. I'm one of the few people left on the planet that are not on Facebook, so I'll have to even be joining up at this point so I could see what's out there on our page. So you can like us on Facebook, and I invite you to do that. Have a great month of March. Hopefully we have a nice early spring, and I'll see you next time. This is Jack Hurley, the Superintendent of Schools. Thank you.